Happy Halloween! My name is Iosaurus, and I drew for this entire month. The goal was once a day because I followed the CRINGETOBER prompt list by Inc. Spoiler alert, I did not succeed. I only made it to day 25. As of recording, which is Halloween, like I said. Trick or treat. Anyway, point is, this will be a video where I talk about my thought process on the drawings. It's not necessarily a tutorial. Most of these drawings only took anywhere from 30 minutes to, I think the one that took the longest is 2.5 hours. And my more professional work, my goal, when I finish it, it tends to be around 3 to 5 hours. So that this is some low effort stuff and not extraordinarily skilled. Also, Eyestrain warning for a lot of these. They use bright colors, glitch effects, and of course it's a speed paint. There's lots of zooming in and out, flipping canvas. Flash warning, Eyestrain warning. Some of the pieces will have more specific warnings, which I will say before each one. But you know, CRINGETOBER, yay! It was very, very fun to do, despite the fact that I didn't truly succeed, and it wasn't really one a day. It was more like 3 a day, take a week off. 3 a day, 4 a day, go and do schoolwork. 3 more, a lot more, 2 a day, 1 a day. It was very random, very mixed, but you know, it was fun. So, let's get into the hashtag video. Am I right? Hell yeah. This first artwork coming up has a intense warning for Eyestrain. So, day 1 of CRINGETOBER, the prompt is Overpowered, and my mind immediately went to my sonas. This is one of my 3 sonas because I have 3. This is Silly Savior, also known as Iosaurus Sparkle. She is a magical girl that wields a sword. And so my idea was making her flail that sword around and put a bunch of cartoony, stylized dead bodies. I knew that for coloring, instead of following a palette or shading in my normal way, I just wanted to go ham on layer effects. I think I used something like a color burn for this. I chose ones that I don't use quite often. I really wanted to make the lines of action. I wanted to go for a cool composition, and I feel like the pose makes it less cool because it didn't turn out that well, but the hair and stuff flying and shedding and being all everywhere, and then I made like a little splash on the ground. It was meant to be a sort of power thing, but it kind of just looks like water, or like weird foliage. I didn't do much on the background at all, which is pretty common. You'll see on the upcoming artworks, I didn't do much except for character artwork. But yeah, this started out really simple. It really only looks good because I made some weird layer effects and decided to do a spiral composition. And boy, do I love spirals, like Michael Distortion or something. Unfortunately, there will be no Magnus Archives fan art in this video, but maybe in a future video. Who knows? I do like the Magnus Archives. Anyway, that is it for Silly Savior and Day 1 Overpowered. Gore warning for the next artwork. Also heavy Eyestrain. This one has bright colors in the time-lapse but not in the final piece, and heavy glitch effects. Also a little bit of eye horror, and of course, blood. Anyway, Cringetober Day 2. The prompt was weird colors. And the explanation video is like, colors you don't often use. So, it's got some desaturated colors. I specifically went with desaturated green and desaturated purple. And then I have a bright orange. And then I use red often, but I did add red just to even it out. And also I like red. So for this prompt and for the colors I've chosen, my mind went to my OC, Rack. Rack is a zombie. They died, as zombies tend to do. But then instead of passing on to the afterlife, which is what those in that town are meant to do, they got their soul trapped inside of a raccoon, which is not what the ghosts in their town are meant to do. It is the laws of the universe. It is the laws of the gods. Because this is in my universe called Four Corners, and it's got 4 gods. And they live in the City of Life, and the God of Life was exiled to stay in that city instead of the realm of the gods. And also as punishment, the citizens in that city, who are not allowed to leave unlike the other cities, cannot be ghosts. They pass on immediately and spend no time on quote-unquote Earth. Anyway, this is a digital painting, so first I sketched it up, and then I did the undertones in full saturation. So we've got our green for the skin, and then also their hoodie. Black everywhere because I decided weird colors, I have to break the rule of never using black. And purple for the hair, red for the insides, the gory bits. And sometimes when I do digital paintings, I'll go over those undertones with a value thing and just set the undertones to color. But I didn't do that for this one. And I just went straight in with the colors I wanted with a very thin brush because I wanted it to be streaky. And it's one of the Clip Studio default brushes, the thin gouache brush. I use that brush all the time. And so I just started with the base tones, and then I did shading, and I decided to make it shaded like a flash camera, because generally Rack is based on like the concept of roadkill and those random spooky images of animals, so you know their eyes look like the eyes of a dog caught in a flashlight. They've got those colors typically. Not really in this drawing, because this drawing is weird colors, but most of the time they do. And then I went in with shading. I said I went in with shading already. And I made a custom brush for this. Not really, it's just an airbrush, but I changed the settings of it a lot to change color with every stroke, because I wanted a bit more color in this. I love color so much, and I just decided to do a heavy glitch effect with the glitch effect brushes I have. by CX, I think. I will edit their number onto the video. But yeah, and that's Rack. I love them a lot. You can't tell I love them a lot because I'm always putting them in situations and making my friends draw gore art of them. But they really are one of my favorite OCs. Probably because I like raccoons a lot, and they're just like a silly little fellow. But yeah, on to the next one. So the next prompt was Chibi, and I decided to draw my OC Fee, because way back when I developed my Chibi style, I used her to do it. Because it was an artificial development of style. It was just the type of style development where you do just whack a lot of things together instead of changing over time. But luckily, after that, it did change over time by a little bit. The actual style I went for this piece, though, is a far more complicated version of my Chibi style. I wanted it to be far more of a traditional Chibi, so I upped the size of the head by a lot, and I didn't do any simplification that I wouldn't just do in my normal style. So she's a very, very complicated Chibi as far as the ones I normally do go. Her skin is blended out, which is not something I actually do in my Chibis very often. And I gave her entirely soft shading, which I actually do kind of do in my Chibis, but most of the time when I draw Chibis, they're not shaded. As for the coloring, I just went with her exact colors on her ref, which is in my normal Chibi style. And it's kind of an old ref, but she doesn't need any redesigns. She's all up to date. She's very pretty. She's actually one of my far older OCs, and her original design was hilariously bad. But that's okay. She's from around 2020, so it makes sense, because that's around when I truly started doing digital art. The shading, as I said before, is just soft shading, pretty much entirely airbrushed. I think I only did 2 layers. I used a couple different colors for it. In a lot of these Cringetober drawings, I really handed myself. That's not the phrase, I don't think, but I really, it was very often that I used gradients. I tried to do reds towards the face and then lighter blues towards the edge, and then on this one specifically, I did actually just add a separate light blue layer towards like the edge of the hair, because I knew I wanted the background to be light blue. And then I duplicated her and made her little fake angel form, I guess, and added a clock and added some, it's not hatching, it's, don't think it's called cross tone. I can't remember the word for it right now, but the little dots. I like to add them a lot to my stuff that's closer to flat coloring, and they're just one of my adding texture is a thing I love to do in post-processing, but unfortunately not a lot of these Cringetober drawings have it, because it does take It doesn't take a while, it's really quick, but whatever. Point is, this is Fee. This is Fee. She's a time traveler. She's clutching her gem that helped her time travel, and she's a chibi. That's all. It's a very simple artwork. It did take a while compared to the previous two, because it's fully lined. And I followed a very simple line art principle, which is just making the line art on the border the thickest. But yeah, on to the next one. Brochachos. Why did I say that? Bye-bye. Eyestrain warning for this upcoming drawing, specifically bright colors. This day, Cringetober Day 4's prompt is Fursona. I don't technically have a Fursona because I'm not a furry, but the true form of fairy Iosaurus is an anthropomorphic bug, and then I also had a furry version of one of my other Sonas, Pickle Pink, a raccoon magical girl, because I wanted to give my furries friends an option to draw furry version of one of my characters on Artfight during Artfight. She also was designed redrawing over a meme, which is funny. And then I also have I wouldn't consider her a Fursona, but I do have a Animal Crossing style sort of raccoon of me named Raccoon Io. She resembles me IRL more than my other Sonas. And she's very cute. She's very, very cute, and everyone loves her, which is why the idea for this art piece was making my other Sonas hold her and say, look at her. Now this would not be canon ever, because true form Iosaurus is just a couple centimeters tall, about the size of a real-life Rosie Maple moth, and those guys are tiny. I love them. They're so cute. Furry Pickle Pink just straight up isn't canon. She has two forms, a human form and a raccoon form. I guess you could say technically she has three forms: a human form, a human magical girl form, and a raccoon form, but that's not the point. So an anthropomorphic raccoon in between those isn't actually canon. Animal Crossing Raccoon Io would probably be actual human size, because that's how Animal Crossing characters work, and then also she's just not in the same universe as the other two. But she is cute, so they are holding her. I just went with flat coloring except for a gradient. It's just all of the characters' true colors, although technically Raccoon Io doesn't really have true colors. I make her in, I only ever draw her in MS Paint and Straw Page, so her color changes literally all the time. Her partner, Ratclorb, though, never changes color because I draw Ratclorb with the MS Paint default colors, but for some reason I just can never decide how dark I want Raccoon Io to be, which is really funny. She tends to be purplish, pinkish. She's always pink, but I say she's brown because it's desaturated. And sometimes the darker parts are more purplish, sometimes they're pinkish. She's inconsistent, but I love her, and she's cute. And I wrote "look at her" on the time lapse, not on the time lapse, on the drawing, and I added some of those anime bubble brush in the background. Yay! That's all. Very simple drawing. On to the next one. This next coming art has a blood warning. So day 5's prompt is favorite cliche. I don't really know my favorite cliche, But since me and two of my other friends, Heartstrings and Ghoul Garbage, both also on YouTube, shout out to them for making videos before me and thus being my inspirations. Anyway, we're all insane over Vampires SMP. Oh my god, it's so good. The Doom Yowie, guys. The Doom Yowie. Anyway, the point is, I made us vampires. They're going to eventually, I think, can't promise this, but eventually they're gonna make vampire designs. But because they haven't yet, I had to step in and just put their sonas in button-ups. That's really all I did. I didn't look up a ref for Ghoulie, so I got her hair wrong because I drew it from memory. I only grabbed her ref when it came to coloring time. Speaking of colors, the colors are just the normal characters' colors, but with... I made my Sona's colors a bit darker than normal and a bit redder, and I made the shading red and purple. There's also cyan in the background because it strikes a lot against purple, you know. Scott and Vampires SMP. Absolutely love it before his hair turns white. It was so sad when his hair turned white because his blue hair went so well with his evil red eyes, and oh my god, I love Vampires SMP. I'm normal about Minecraft YouTubers. Anyway, red shading, red background, blood splatters everywhere. Shout out to Ghoul Garbage and Heartstrings, also known as Meme Sans. They're the best. Very good friends. Love them. On to the next one, I guess. I don't have much to say about this, actually. Other than the blood splatters were very fun. I downloaded a new brush for this. I didn't use it in very many places. No, I didn't download it for this. I downloaded it for another thing, for an art trade with Heartstrings. But, yep. Cool. On to the next one. Okay, so this next one is musical. My favorite musical is Heathers. I don't watch many musicals, but Heathers I have seen a completely 100% legal recording of. And it's really good. Love the music, love the plot, love the themes, the messages. I already said love the music, but the music is really, really good. My favorite song from the Heathers soundtrack is Dead Girl Walking Reprise. I'm not a big enough musical nerd to know how to pronounce reprise. But in middle school, all my friends were theater kids, so I get my nerdiness from that. Now all my friends are theater kids. I don't know why I said in middle school. All my friends have always been theater kids. Anyway, I drew Veronica. The anatomy is shit. The lighting I based on a photo of the Broadway stage. So it's blue and pink, which is good because that is my favorite lighting ever. My favorite color is pink. My second favorite color, cyan. My third favorite color, purple. Yeah, shocker. Looking at my art, no one could ever tell. That's sarcasm, by the way. Again, not much to say about this. I made her holding the, little... It's not golf, but I forgot the name of the actual thing because it's weird and for old people. But the little hammer, the long hammer. I drew JD in the background as a barely noticeable shadow. I've seen this on some other screens. It's hard to tell how noticeable he actually is. And I made that shadow have a gradient because I like when background elements have gradients. I added the lyrics to Beautiful and with Dead Girl Walking in the background. Dead Girl Walking, I switched it. Dead Girl Walking it's not normal Dead Girl Walking. That's just a sex song. Why would I put that? it's okay, it's more for those of you who haven't seen it, it's more than that, but it is also just a musical version of the sex song. See, now that's the only thing that I've said about it, it sounds weird, but it's a school blows up okay in the reprise version of it. So there's more than one thing that happens. I don't have anything to say about this. It didn't turn out well. On to the next one. The last day for the week, day 7, is anime. Small Eyestrain warning for bright colors. I drew Saiki K, Kusuo Saiki from Saiki K, because Saiki K is the last anime I watched. It's not my favorite anime, but it was enjoyable. I did only watch season 1 on Netflix because I prefer dubbed over sub. I know I'm evil and malicious and also a sinner or whatever. But yeah, especially when it comes to comedy, I feel like it's just funnier listening to a line delivered than reading a poorly translated joke in the subtitles. But yeah, it's a good anime. I just didn't watch the rest of it. I just grabbed a reference screenshot and drew pretty much the same expression he had on, but I changed up his pose because I wanted him to push up his glasses, because that's what people with glasses do. I mean, he probably would just use his powers to adjust them, because he's lazy. But yeah, I also decided instead of shading normally, I'd shade with the lasso tool and make cell shading just to make it a bit more anime. And then the lighting, instead of normal lighting layers, I just made solid blocks of really bright colors because they go along with them well. I for the highlighting colors, I used yellow, cyan, green, and pink because they go really well with his design, and then I made the background blue because that goes well. I like bright colors. They call me Bright Colors McNoodleman. They don't call me that. You should call me that. You should not call me that. Yeah, I had fun drawing the glasses because I liked messing around with opacity and layer effects. I don't like drawing glasses, they're hard to draw, but these ones had a nice shape. I liked drawing his little headpieces because those had an interesting shape to them, made the silhouette all nice. His eyes, I couldn't figure out his eye color, so I made them brown. It was sad because he does not have eye shines, and eye shines are some of my favorite things to do, but like, I couldn't add them. That wouldn't look like him. I really like drawing collars, shirt collars, so that was nice. All around, just a really fun drawing. I really like drawing with these colors and these shapes, so Saiki lended himself to my style pretty well. He's cool. On to the next one. Actually, no, not on to the next one. I'm ending this video. because it's 20-something minutes long. Actually, 30 minutes. Yeah. Yep, that's my video. Thank you for watching. Like, genuinely, actually, really thank you. This is my first time making a video like this. This is, entirely unscripted, which is probably obvious, so thanks for making it through my terrible, wretched rambling. Once again, I want to say shout out to Heartstrings and Ghoul Garbage, my two YouTuber friends. Also shout out to my partner Corb, who also has a little bit of experience in YouTubing. And shout out to Inc., the creator of the CRINGETOBER prompt list. There will probably be two more of these videos. There might even be a third, though I didn't finish. Of course, I only made it up to 24, so there might also not be a third. I don't know. Well, there will be a third video, but like, will there be a fourth is the question. You can tell this is unscripted. Thanks for watching. Bye, farewell, au revoir. I added an accent, so you know, French. Yes. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Iosaurus Baby Legs Noodleman out. I just did a peace sign, but you can't see it.